Welcome everyone! This video of Learn English at Home 79 channel offers 8 last-minute study tips for students facing exams with minimal preparation. The advice focuses on strategic learning and memory retention techniques, such as prioritizing difficult but frequently tested material, engaging multiple senses while studying, vocalizing information, self-quizzing, and using spaced repetition. Additionally, the video emphasizes the importance of pre-sleep review and jotting down key information immediately upon entering the exam room. While these tips are designed for emergency situations, the creator also promotes a book on effective long-term study methods. Are you ready? Let's get started.
We've all been there, haven't we? That specific sinking feeling deep in your gut.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's the night before a huge exam, maybe just hours away even. You crack open the textbook or you pull up your notes, and it's like staring into a totally different universe.
Completely alien territory.
Right. The words just blur. Your brain feels like, I don't know, a blank slate. Your heart starts pounding like crazy.
Yeah. The panic sets in.
Yeah, and that cold dread of just bombing the test, getting a terrible score, it just washes over you. That sort of internal scream, The sheer panic of being totally unprepared.
And look, it happens. It's almost a universal thing, that feeling. Whether it's procrastination or maybe the material's just genuinely overwhelming.
Or life just happened. Threw you a curveball. So if you've ever found yourself right there in that exact spot, staring down a massive deadline with basically zero prep, well, you are definitely not alone.
What's really interesting, though, is how people react in that situation. That human drive to find some way through, even when it feels hopeless. Can you actually salvage things when, all the normal study methods are out the window? I'm going to dig into that.
Exactly. This isn't just about time management. It's about how you tackle complicated stuff under insane pressure. Finding those little tricks, those leverage points.
Mm-hmm. Those immediate high-impact strategies.
Yes. So think of this deep dive as your emergency rescue mission. We've dug up what our source material claims are 8 incredibly effective, almost unbelievable tricks. They're designed to help you survive an exam, even if you usually think you're lazy or just, bad at studying.
Okay, sounds intriguing. What's the source?
It's this really interesting YouTube video. The title's in Vietnamese. Bi kipt sang sot kwa tinge kaki ban chionge, which basically translates to secrets to surviving an exam even if you haven't studied anything.
Wow, okay. Bold claim.
Right. And the person who made it, they make this personal claim, saying they've actually used these methods themselves to, quote, survive several exam seasons.
So it's born from actual experience, not just theory?
Seems like it. So, get ready. We're about to dive into some serious, last-minute emergency maneuvers that could genuinely change how you handle these pressure cooker learning moments.
I'm interested. It's sort of a testament to, human ingenuity under pressure, isn't it? These aren't abstract ideas. They sound like practical, field-tested tactics.
Exactly. Bypassing the long, slow study methods for something way more direct.
Looking for efficiency when efficiency seems totally impossible. Let's get into it.
All right, let's kick things off with survival tactic number 1. And this is all about getting super strategic when time is, your biggest enemy.
The clock's ticking, yeah.
So the main idea here, when you're facing that exam with basically zero prep, is you got to ditch any idea of mastering everything. Just forget it.
That's just not realistic.
Not at all. The source puts it so well, they say, don't try to hug all the books like a crush. You don't have time.
Huh. That's a good visual.
Isn't it? It really sticks. So it's not about trying to cover everything. It's about being almost surgical. Strategic.
You're performing triage, essentially.
Exactly. Like being a detective for your own test. Looking for the vital clues, not the whole story.
And, from a cognitive science angle, this lines up perfectly with the Pareto principle. the 80-20 rule.
Oh, right. Explain that a bit.
Well, the idea is that roughly 80% of your results often come from just 20% of your efforts. So here, you're trying to find that critical 20% of the material that's likely to give you 80% of your score.
Okay, so you're optimizing like crazy.
Precisely. You're forced to think critically about the exam itself, its structure, what's likely to be on it, not just the sheer volume of information. It's like a super fast risk assessment.
A rapid risk assessment. I like
Yeah.
that. So, okay, how do you actually do this when you're panicking? The method they suggest is this 4-tiered approach.
4 levels of priority.
Yeah. You start with what they call initial triage. Grab a piece of paper, a pen, simple.
Low tech, good in a crisis.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you just list out all the main topics, the chapters, the big concepts for the subject, whatever you can pull from the syllabus or the textbook contents.
Get it all down first.
Then, step 2 is crucial. You assess what you actually know for each item on that list, and you have to be brutally honest.
No kidding yourself.
Right. What do you kind of know? What's maybe a bit fuzzy, needs a refresh, and really importantly, what are you completely, utterly clueless about? That's your starting point. Your threat map.
That self-assessment is so key, because otherwise you waste precious time going over stuff you already get, or you get totally stuck on some minor detail that won't even be worth many points.
Exactly. You're making your own personalized map, showing the danger zones and the high-value target.
It's metacognition, really, thinking about your own understanding or lack of it.
Okay, so you've got your map. What's next? This is the frequency analysis part.
Figuring out what actually shows up on tests.
Yeah. You try to figure out which topics are tested often, like the recurring themes, versus the stuff that almost never appears. You're hunting for patterns.
The instructor's greatest hits, so to speak.
Exactly. This is where you put on your detective hat.
And doing this analysis, even if it takes a few minutes up front, the payoff is huge. You stop just randomly reading and start aiming your effort where it counts most.
You're leveraging predictability. Smart. Okay. And that leads right into the heart of it. The priority matrix. You sort everything into 4 boxes.
Okay, lay them out for us.
Priority 1. This is your absolute top focus. Your final boss, as the source calls it. These are topics you are weak on, but crucially, they are frequently tested.
High risk, high reward zone.
Exactly. This is where you're most likely to lose points, but it's also where focused effort gives you the biggest bang for your buck. Pour all your energy here first.
Makes sense. Shore up the biggest weaknesses in the most likely areas.
Yeah.
Strategic damage control, really.
And then you've got priority 2. These are topics you're weak on, but they're rarely tested.
So less critical.
Right. Only tackle these if you've made good progress on priority 1. Then, priority 3 topics you're strong on and they are frequently tested.
Okay, the easy points.
Yeah, review these later just to lock them down, boost your confidence. And finally, priority 4 topics you're strong on and they're rarely tested.
Basically, ignore these unless you have a miracle of extra time.
Pretty much. The source warns against being like a lost chicken just learning haphazardly. It just burns you out and confuses you.
It's a really efficient system. It respects that you only have so much time and, frankly, so much brain power. It forces you to consider the test design itself.
But okay, the big question. How do you find this high-frequency stuff if you've maybe not been paying super close attention all semester?
Good question. Where do you look?
The source gives some good clues. First, check the obvious. Your syllabus or any notes the teacher provided. Look for things they emphasized, bolded terms, repeated objectives. Teachers often drop hints.
Yeah, the syllabus is often the blueprint, right? It tells you what the instructor thinks is important. People often just file it away.
Don't ignore it. Second, crack open that textbook and look for what the source calls gold.
Gold.
Yeah, like bolded text, underlined sections, chapter summaries, especially those summary tables or boxes. Publishers highlight key stuff for a reason.
Absolutely. Those visual cues are navigational aids. In a panic, they're like lifelines pointing to the core concepts.
And third, this one's maybe my favorite, community intelligence.
Tapping the network.
Yep. Ask in student groups, forums, or even, brave it and ask older students who took the class. See if anyone has past exam papers or just knows what topics always seem to come up.
Ah, the institutional memory.
Right. The source says this often reveals bullseye topics, the stuff that just keeps showing up. It's like getting insider info.
Past exams are solid evidence of past priorities. No guarantee for your test, but it's a strong clue about high-frequency content.
The speaker in the video actually used calculus as an example. They realized derivatives, which are tough for a lot of people, came up all the time on past exams.
Ah.
So instead of trying to relearn all of calculus overnight, they just decided, okay, I'm going to pour all my energy into derivatives first, tackle that final boss, and apparently it worked.
That makes total sense. Focus the limited energy for maximum impact.
So what this means for you, the listener, is even when you feel lost, there is a path. It's about being tactical. You're not just studying, you're on a mission.
It shifts the whole mindset, doesn't it? From passive victim to active strategist, even in a crisis. That's powerful.
Okay, let's shift gears to our second emergency tactic. Multisensory immersion.
Sounds intense.
It kind of is. The core idea is to hit your brain with information through as many senses as possible all at once, to basically stuff knowledge and super fast.
Like overloading the circuits in a good way.
Yeah, the source says it's like turning on all engines for the computer in your head. It's about turbocharging your intake, making learning less passive reading, more high-intensity sprint.
This touches on something really fundamental about how our brains learn. When you engage multiple channels, hearing, seeing, doing, like kinesthetic learning, you're creating more pathways to the same information.
Okay, more roads to the memory?
Exactly. It makes the memory trace stronger, more robust, and crucially, easier to access later, especially when you're stressed, like in an exam. It's not just about speed, it's about depth of processing in a short time.
Multiple entry points. So if one's blocked by panic, maybe another one works. I like that.
Redundancy is good for memory.
So how do you actually do this multisensory attack? The method leans heavily on using videos and really active engagement.
Right, not just passively watching.
Definitely not. The source says watching relevant lecture videos or lesson recaps online can be one of the fastest ways to cram. But, and this is key, don't just lean back and watch it like they say, watching a sales live stream.
Yeah. Passive consumption just doesn't cut it for deep learning. The brain needs to be involved.
Exactly. Which leads to the next step. Gotta speed it up.
Speed up the videos.
Yep. Don't watch at normal speed. Crank it up to 1.5x, maybe even 2x speed.
Whoa, won't that just sound like chipmunks?
The source admits, yeah, at first it might sound like gibberish or robot talking. It'll feel weird, difficult.
I can imagine.
But they really push you to stick with it because apparently your brain adapts surprisingly quickly. It becomes the new normal. You train yourself to process faster.
That's interesting. It probably forces you to pay closer attention too, right? Less chance for your mind to wander.
Good point. Like a mild cognitive workout just to keep up.
Prevents zoning out.
Okay, so you're listening to this super fast audio. Then to really hit visual and auditory, you turn on the subtitles.
So you're reading along while listening.
Exactly. Dual input, seeing the words, hearing the words, strengthening those connections.
Dual encoding.
Yeah.
Creates a richer memory trace. Good strategy.
But here's the absolute critical part. The active engagement piece. You cannot just watch and listen passively. The source is really strong on this. Scribble notes frantically as if you're texting a friend about juicy drama.
Get your hands moving.
Yes. As you're watching and listening at double speed, you're physically writing down keywords, formulas, main ideas, whatever jumps out. Forget neatness, just capture the essence.
That kinesthetic part, The actual writing adds another whole layer. You're processing it physically, not just mentally. It makes it more concrete.
So why does this whole intense multisensory thing work so well under pressure?
Well, you're hitting multiple brain regions at once, right?
Yeah. Eyes are watching, reading subtitles, ears are listening to fast audio, hands are writing. You're forcing your brain to work harder, juggling multiple inputs.
Like those multiple engines firing.
Exactly. It creates more connection points in your brain, so the knowledge sticks more firmly, even if it's just for the short haul.
That simultaneous activation across different cortices, visual, auditory, motor, definitely increases the odds of consolidation. It makes the memory more distributed, more resilient. It's way beyond simple repetition.
The speaker in the video gave some really concrete examples. Like, for physics problems, they listen fast, write the formulas and steps simultaneously.
And because of that combo, they could just instantly recall the method later.
The recall was triggered more easily.
Yeah. And another one for chemistry, they found themselves writing stuff down and mumbling to myself.
Adding vocalization too.
Right. That mix of seeing, hearing, writing, and even a bit of speaking aloud helped them nail chemical reactions on the test. It really shows how using all your tools, even frantically, can make a difference.
And that mumbling actually hints at the next technique, doesn't it? These things often build on each other.
All right, let's unpack tactic number 3. And this one sounds maybe a little out there. It's called the shout it out method.
Okay. Shouting, like actually yelling.
Apparently, yes. It's described as seeming crazy, but being terrifically effective. The idea is to turn quiet review into loud, active recall.
Sounds wild, but I can see a potential cognitive angle here.
Yeah, me too, actually. It's less about being nuts and more like, I don't know, performance art for your brain. Well, if we look at the psychology, it hits a few big principles.
Yeah.
There's the generation effect. You remember things better if you produce them yourself, like speaking them, rather than just passively reading them.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it's also tapping into something like the Feynman technique. You know, the idea that you don't truly understand something until you can explain it simply to someone else.
Right. The ultimate test of understanding.
Plus, hearing your own voice, saying it, creates an auditory feedback loop that reinforces the learning. It forces active processing.
Turns reading into a performance and a self-test. Okay, I'm starting to see it. So how do you actually do the shouting?
What's the practical application?
It starts solo. You take your notes, messy scribbles, printed slides, whatever you stand up.
Stand up, okay.
Yep. And you literally shout them out loud as if you're arguing with a friend.
Okay.
And if you're totally alone, the advice is stand in front of a mirror and yell like a crazy person. You just have to embrace the weirdness. Survival first, sanity maybe later.
That physical act of standing, vocalizing it, engages more than just your eyes. It's motor activity, auditory feedback, creating a richer memory. Multimodal again.
And if you're not alone, if you have roommates or family around,
oh boy, what then?
Then you drag them out as your audience. Seriously, walk up to them and say, listen, I have something really interesting to tell you. And then you just start explaining what you learned. You basically force them to be your students.
Wow, that takes some guts or desperation.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
But the point is, explaining it out loud forces you to structure it to make sense of it for someone else.
Absolutely. That externalization is key. You have to organize your thoughts, simplify complexity, and crucially, you immediately spot where you're fuzzy.
Yeah.
If you stumble explaining it.
You know you don't really get it yet. Exactly.
It's instant feedback on your own understanding.
So why does this loud, maybe slightly embarrassing method actually work?
Yeah.
Hearing your own voice, processing the sound and the meaning at once, that dual processing boosts retention. And explaining it, that forces deep understanding. If you can't explain it clearly, back to the books or videos or whatever, the source even says, hey, no one will laugh at you, but if they do, who cares? As long as you get the exam done.
The ends justify the means. in this emergency scenario. The self-correction aspect is huge. You immediately diagnose your own weak spots.
The speakers share examples too, like with physics formulas, shouting them at the mirror led to perfect recall the next day.
Wow.
And explaining chemical equation balancing to a friend while actually drawing it out at the same time, that combo of speaking and drawing really locked it in for them.
That pairing of vocal and visual or kinesthetic output is powerful. Again, more neural pathways involved. It's active, it's multimodal, and it's diagnostic. Way better than just staring at a page.
Okay, here's where we turn studying into, like, a high-stakes game. This is our fourth tactic, self-quizzing, or, as the source calls it, the boss fight for your brain.
I like that framing. A boss fight.
Right, because when time is this tight, just passively rereading your notes, it's super inefficient. This method flips that. It makes studying an active brain workout. You're simulating the pressure before the real test.
Making your brain sweat a bit, as you said earlier.
Exactly.
And this taps directly into active recall and retrieval practice, which, cognitive psychology tells us are incredibly effective. Every time you pull information out of your memory, you're not just recalling it, you're strengthening the pathway to it.
So trying to remember actually makes the memory stronger.
Precisely. And adding the timed element, that introduces just the right amount of pressure. Not paralyzing panic, but enough to sharpen focus. It mimics the exam conditions.
Training for the main event. Okay, so how does the boss fight work in practice?
How are the mechanics?
It's basically flashcards plus timed challenges. First step, make some quick flashcards. Question or concept on one side, answer on the other.
Doesn't have to be fancy.
No way. Quick and dirty's fine. Tear up paper if you need to. Just get them made fast. Then this is the game changer, you set a timer.
Oh, the pressure element.
Yeah. Like challenge yourself. Okay, 5 minutes to answer 10 of these cards, go. It creates that immediate urgency, like the countdown clock in a game.
It forces quick, decisive recall. No time to waver.
Exactly, you're racing the clock.
Flashcards are great for this because they force that active retrieval. You can't just passively recognize the answer on a page. You have to produce it. The timer just amps that up, transforms it into a mini competition against yourself.
So why is this high-pressure quizzing so good, especially last minute?
What's the underlying mechanism?
The source claims that tiny bit of pressure helps engrave the knowledge deeper. And the science seems to agree. Retrieval practice like this can be like twice as effective as just rereading.
Wow, twice as effective. That's significant.
Yeah. Because it forces active recall, pulling the info out instead of just recognition, which is seeing it and thinking, oh yeah, I kind of know that. That active pulling makes the memory pathway stronger, more accessible.
It's the testing effect. Each successful retrieval is a learning event in itself. The effort involved makes the memory more durable. Your brain basically gets the message, okay, this info needs to be easy to grab.
The speaker gave some great examples, like for biology, learning complex cycles. They said quizzing themselves under pressure was actually thrilling and incredibly memorable, made dry stuff stick.
Turned it into a challenge, not just a chore.
Right. And another one for English vocab. They quizzed themselves on 20 words, fast, under pressure.
Okay.
And get this. 15 of those exact words showed up on the real exam.
Whoa. Okay, that's a powerful anecdote. Huge return on focused effort.
Totally shows how this boss fight approach really primes you for quick recall when it matters.
It's not just learning the material, it's practicing performing with it under pressure. Builds confidence and cognitive endurance for the real thing.
All right, let's move on to tactic number 5, which kind of builds on that last one. It's called smart repetition.
Okay, repetition makes sense, but what makes it smart?
Good question. The core idea is simple but easy to forget. Your brain naturally forgets stuff if you don't remind it. You can't just cram once and hope it sticks, especially under pressure.
The forgetting curve is steep, especially initially.
Exactly. So you have to repeat strategically to make the knowledge durable, even if just for 24 hours. The source warns, kind of funny but true, that knowledge will fly away like salary at month end if you don't reinforce it.
Relatable.
So what this means for you is it's not just about the time you have, but how smartly you use that limited time. It's like launching tactical memory attacks.
What's really interesting here is how this applies spaced repetition principles, but compresses them into a super short time frame.
Right. Isn't spaced repetition usually over days or weeks?
Ideally, yes.
Yeah.
But the core principle still holds. Repeating exposure at intervals, even short ones, signals to your brain that this information is important. You're reinforcing the neural pathways before they completely fade, making it sticky fast.
You're fighting that forgetting curve in hyperspeed. Okay, so how do you do these smart repetitions?
What's the schedule?
It starts with immediate repetition. Right after you learn something new, like a math formula, a definition, a key date, write it down immediately. A few times.
Physically write it.
Yeah, the source says this helps soak it in. That physical act helps cement it right away.
Kind of like creating that first strong impression in your short-term memory. Prevents immediate decay.
Then you bring in the spaced intervals, even within the same day. The source suggests a tight schedule, review it again briefly the next morning, then review it again around lunchtime, and one last crucial review before you go to sleep that night.
Wow, okay. Multiple hits within maybe 18, 24 hours.
Exactly. It sounds like a lot, but they're meant to be quick, targeted reviews, not full restudy sessions.
That distributed practice, even crunched like this, is way better than just one massive cram session. Each review reactivates the memory trace, and the slight effort of recalling it after a gap strengthens it.
And to make these reviews even stronger, use those flashcards you made for the self-quizzing.
Combine the methods.
Yeah. Test yourself with the flashcards during these repetition intervals. That mixes active recall with the space practice. A real power combo.
Makes the repetition active and engaging, not just passive rereading. Much more efficient.
So why does this actually work, even with just one day?
How does it save you?
Because your brain responds to these timely reminders. It actively counteracts that natural forgetting by re-exposing you right when the memory might be fading. It solidifies it in your short-term storage, making it accessible for the test. It's like telling your brain, hey, this is important, hold on to it.
The brain interprets that repeated, effortful retrieval as a signal of importance. It triggers consolidation mechanisms. Even compressed, you're optimizing how memory naturally works.
The speaker's example was history dates. They needed to remember a bunch of them, so they wrote them down immediately, reviewed them later that day, reviewed before bed.
Yeah.
And they said they could write dates like 1945, 1954, perfectly on the exam, no hesitation. It wasn't deep historical analysis. It was tactical recall, enabled by smart repetition.
It shows that even for rote facts, distributed practice works wonders. It optimizes for the immediate goal, passing the test.
Okay, let's unpack number 6. And this is one I think a lot of us get wrong, maybe even actively sabotage ourselves. It's called the golden night.
The night before the exam.
Exactly, the core idea. That night is pure gold. It's this incredibly valuable window because your brain keeps working, keeps processing, even while you sleep.
Sleep isn't just downtime, it's consolidation time.
Right. So the source pleads, basically, don't waste time scrolling TikTok or watching Korean dramas, no matter how tempting. That night is your secret weapon.
It's like having a free, built-in study assistant working overnight.
Totally, like a night shift brain.
And neuroscience strongly backs this up. Sleep, especially deep sleep, is absolutely critical for memory consolidation, moving information from temporary storage to more permanent storage.
So what you do right before sleep really matters.
Immensely. By doing a targeted review just before bed, you're essentially giving your sleeping brain its priority list for the night's work. It makes that information more likely to be integrated and easily retrievable when you wake up. It's a genuine neurohack.
Okay, so how do you leverage this golden night? What's the method?
What should you actually do?
First, and they are really emphatic about this, avoid all distractions, put the phone away, turn off the TV, resist the urge to scroll. No matter, as the source says, how beautiful the CEO or idol is, that last hour or two before bed is sacred study time.
Creates focused input right before the consolidation phase. No competing noise for the brain to filter out. Maximizes the quality of what goes in.
Then the active review before bed. This isn't just glancing. You sit down and you actively write down the most important stuff. Formulas, keywords, main ideas, anything you absolutely must remember.
Writing it down again.
Yeah, either typing it on your phone or computer or handwriting it. The source mentions typing while reading helps etch it deep, but writing works too. It's that final act of active recall and creation right before you shut down.
That final encoding push. Giving your brain clear instructions for its overnight processing. Priming the pump for consolidation.
And then, one small step in the morning reinforcement. When you wake up before anything else distracts you, just quickly scan through what you wrote or typed the night before.
Good activation.
Yeah, just brings those newly consolidated memories right to the front of your mind, gets them ready for the day.
Like stretching your memory muscles after their overnight workout. Makes the information warm and accessible for the exam.
So why is this golden night so powerful? We touched on it, but let's reiterate.
The sleep consolidation piece.
Right. Your brain isn't resting. It's that night shift worker, busy organizing, integrating, filing away the info you just gave it. Science shows learning before sleep boosts memory consolidation. It uses that downtime to weave the new stuff into what you already know, makes it stick like super glue.
It leverages the brain's natural rhythm. Sleep stages like slow-wave sleep are prime time for transferring memories from the hippocampus, short-term buffer, to the neocortex, long-term storage. Reviewing right before optimizes this vital transfer.
Speakers shared really good examples again, like typing out simple chemical formulas, acid plus base, salt before bed, helped embed them.
Concrete examples.
And for a literature exam, they intensely reviewed poems by Nyundu right before sleep.
Okay.
And they swore they could write them out perfectly, word for word, on the exam because of it. That's a strong case for respecting the golden night.
It really highlights the difference between just cramming more hours versus working with your brain's natural processes, especially when time is critical. Smart neural optimization.
Okay, number 7. This one is fascinating because it takes that pre-exam anxiety, that frantic energy, and actually turns it into a strategic tool inside the exam room.
Using the stress to your advantage. How?
It's called the exam room brain dump, or my favorite name for it, your legal life buoy.
A legal life buoy. I like it. So what's the concept?
It's simple, but maybe counterintuitive. When the exam starts, don't just dive into answering questions. Resist that urge. Instead, use the first few minutes to legally dump everything you crammed onto your scratch paper.
Externalizing the knowledge immediately.
Exactly.
This tackles a huge problem in exams. Managing your working memory, that mental juggling space, and reducing anxiety. By getting key facts down on paper right away, you offload that cognitive burden.
Your brain doesn't have to desperately cling to everything.
Right. It knows where to find the info if needed. This frees up so much mental energy for the actual thinking, the problem solving, the applying of knowledge. It's cognitive relief.
Clearing the mental RAM. Love it. So the method is often called the first 5-minute strategy. Step 1, stay calm. Don't just flip the paper and start frantically writing answers like a superhero saving the world, as the source says.
Override that adrenaline rush.
Yeah, take a breath. Get centered for a second.
Rushing under anxiety just leads to mistakes. That initial pause to regulate and offload is smart self-management.
Then the dump itself. Use those first few minutes, maybe 5, maybe a bit less or more. Turn off your scratch paper and just write down everything you think you might forget or need.
Everything.
Formulas, keywords, dates, definitions, main ideas, equations, structures, anything that flashes through your head, basically. Get it out.
It's retrieval practice right there at the start, under pressure. Reinforces the memory trait one last time while creating that external aid.
And crucial point, don't worry about making it neat. The source says scribble it down, even if it's ugly. Speed is key. This is your personal, messy cheat sheet, your life buoy.
Function over form. The goal is rapid externalization, not a pretty document. Wasting time on neatness is counterproductive here.
So why does this brain dump work so well?
What are the benefits?
It makes your brain feel lighter, less cluttered. You're not constantly fighting that internal voice, worrying about forgetting something critical.
Reduces that cognitive load and anxiety.
Totally. If you get stuck later or your mind goes blank on a formula, you just glance at your scratch paper. It's right there. Frees up mental energy for the hard parts.
Anxiety cripples thinking. Offloading facts mitigates that pressure, reduces the chance of freezing up. It allows your brain to focus its resources on reasoning and analysis. It's a dual win, memory aid and anxiety reducer.
The speaker gave great examples for this too. Math exams, dump all the trig formulas, derivative rules, whatever.
Got it.
English exam, jot down complex vocab you want to use, literary terms, sentence structures.
Yeah.
Physics. Listing Newton's laws or key equations on the scratch paper, let them solve hard problems just by referring back to their own quick notes, like having a tiny legal textbook page.
It shows how universal it is. Works for formulas, facts, even specific language elements. It's about making knowledge instantly accessible when the stakes are highest. Optimizing performance right in the moment. Hashtag outro.
So there you have it. We've just unpacked quite a collection of strategies from our source, that YouTube video Promising Survival. 8 incredibly effective, almost unbelievable trips, really.
They certainly sound potent for a crisis situation.
Yeah, from that ruthless prioritization and the multi-sensory blitz to, shouting at your mirror.
Yeah, that one's memorable.
And that final clever brain dump in the exam room itself. These are framed as genuine lifesavers for that last-minute high-pressure panic.
And connecting this to the bigger picture, these techniques are undeniably brilliant for crisis management. They show an amazing understanding of how to optimize learning and recall under severe constraints.
Definitely focus on the immediate problem.
Right. But it does raise a deeper question, doesn't it, for you, the listener? What does it really mean to learn effectively, to truly retain knowledge beyond just scraping through one test?
Good point. It's survival versus actual learning.
Exactly. How can these emergency tactics, which actually rely on powerful principles, like active recall, strategic thinking, understanding memory, how can they maybe inspire something more? A more proactive, consistent approach.
Shifting from emergency mode to, sustainable learning.
Precisely. Fostering that deep understanding, not just the temporary recall needed to pass. How do these hacks point towards better everyday learning habits?
That's the real challenge, isn't it? And the source itself acknowledges this. They're very clear. While these tricks work wonders for last-minute cramming and sheer survival, they are explicitly not a long-term weapon.
A crucial disclaimer.
So as you think about these hacks, maybe you even need to use one soon, also consider this. How can you shift from being that survivalist learner, always fighting the clock, always stressed,
to becoming more of a proactive master of knowledge?
Yeah. How can you start using this kind of curiosity, this strategic thinking, these effective techniques before the panic hits, applying them consistently, not just in emergencies?
Building a foundation, not just patching holes.
Exactly. Something to definitely mull over for your next big learning adventure. Until our next deep dive,